So our next presenter is from Humanoid. He's one of their chief revenue officers, or no, he is their chief revenue officer. Is that correct? Jochen? Yeah, Jochen Rudat is from Humanoid, and he's here to talk about their strategy. Thank you very much. I'll hand it over to you. Please give him a hand, everybody.
Thank you for the kind words and a nice introduction. It's a huge pleasure for me being here with you today. And actually, we're not a stranger to the Humanoid Summit. A couple of months ago at the European chapter, our CTO was on stage. And he covered a lot of ground on topics we discussed yesterday and this morning around technology on VLMs and VLAs and teleoperation, data flywheel, et cetera, stuff we are obviously doing as well. Including exploring own VLA, for example. And that's why we said we are coming today with some sort of a different topic. We're talking a bit more about the commercial strategy, our business strategy, but also giving you, obviously, a quick overview of where we stand and what we do right now in general. So I personally think a good strategy is and covers not only what you do, the focus area, but also clearly says on what you don't do as a company. So we can clearly say we are not the next 1X. We are not into home robots, for example. Our sandbox is more the industrial space, the manufacturing, warehouse, the heavy industries where 30% plus of the GDP is actually deployed. Half the population is working in, and still, the automation decree is super low right now. This is where we play in, and this is our focus area. As a quick overview, who is Humanoid? We're founded in May last year, so 1.5 years old roughly. We have 3 offices. Our main office and headquarters is in London, the UK. We have, however, 2 satellite offices. One is in Boston, the other one in Vancouver. That has mainly to do with the talent we hired. We didn't just want to export the people, just rather opened offices there. And talent is a good next topic because we already have over 200 world-class engineers. They're coming from the big players out there, from the Optimus program, Boston Dynamics, et cetera, you name it. And what fascinates me most of the time is when you sit in these meetings and they share, obviously not confidential stuff, but their experiences, and you can much faster deploy and solve challenges than when you're obviously more single and not as diverse, right? Bootstrapped right now, our founder invested 50 million and committed a 3-digit million amount. On the product, that's not CGI. Those are real photos of our 2 platforms, the HMV1 as a wheeled version, but also as a bipedal. And from the development timelines, you see exactly what I meant. The wheel platform we built in only 7 months and the bipedal in 5 months. And it learned in only 2 days to walk. It was not completely a zero shot, but only a few shots were needed, and we are super, super proud of that success. Zooming a bit more in on the products, the Wheeled Alpha, as mentioned, made particular for the industry, for the clients in the industry and manufacturing space, and they're talking about different things, right? We heard some topics like safety. Obviously, that's clear and important. You don't want to have an unsafe robot next to your coworkers. They predominantly talk about TCO, total cost of ownership, about ROI. That's super crucial. And this is exactly what we are trying to deliver. Hence, a couple of product decisions have led to exactly that design. You see here a wheel platform. Why? It's stable, it's reliable, right? And it's certifiable, right? Which is not the case for bipedal so far. Also, we're added some sort of superhuman capabilities. So this is really a huge robot, 2.20 meters, and the reach is even higher. Payload right now, 15 kilograms, but that's only a starting point. From there, we obviously go higher. And the bipedal on the right-hand side today is more played over R&D platform for us. We don't want to miss out because 80–85% of the use cases out there today can be solved with the wheel platform, right? We could even go so far and send a wheel platform into a lift, right? AMRs today, they're partly sent into lift. But we don't want to miss out, and hence also continue the development on the bipedal. Our product roadmap looks like this. Everything started in Q2 actually this year with the pre-alpha. That was off-the-shelf hardware screwed together while the team just focused on AI and the software part of things, and very early POCs already. This is something we are doing differently than many other players out there. We are very customer-focused and commercial-focused. We didn't want to drop a product 3 years after the company was founded and then realize there's no product market fit. We really nearly co-developed that with clients. We are right now on alpha, as shown before. 12 units around are built. By the end of the year, we should reach the 15th. Also on the bipedal, the first 2 we have out there, or 3, sorry, we have out there. And then next year, actually a big milestone is coming with our beta platform, which is the first certifiable robot we are bringing out to the wild. And from there you see like start of production and the mass, and also like the volumes getting up. Yeah, we talked about the industry, zoomed in a bit more on the product itself, on the robot itself. So what are we actually doing? Speed needs focus, and today we see incredible demand and excitement, particularly in manufacturing and the logistics area, where we're heavily focused on today, with all sort of use cases we are doing there, from material handling to assembly support or tool-based operations, kitting in the logistics part, depalletizing, sortation, all kinds of things in that area. And we bring out the skills actually over 4 phases. Let me simplify maybe this graphic a bit. A lot of information is here. Phase 1, think about it like very simple use case. You bring a big box from A to B, right? While phase 4 is more targeting human parity, right? So we are adding here, or we can manipulate here also small parts like a computer chip, right, for example. Or we can manipulate and work with soft objects like cables or towels, and do inspections and have product maintenance and so on. Today we're in phase 2 as a company. That means we can do all the object manipulation, static, but also doing the first dynamic ones where you take a box from a conveyor, for example. We do machine feeding. We've just done and delivered the very first project to a big OEM in that space, which was fascinating. We're working on our first machinery operating, like pulling a huge lever, switching thousands of kilovolts with that, and avoiding arc sparks and so on. So it's a safety use case here. And then next year entering in the first half also phase 3. This is our customer journey. So how do we serve clients? How do we try to create value for them and with them? We have developed that journey nearly in lockstep with the very first clients, and listen carefully what they really need. Because right now the industry is in a phase where you need to build trust and experiment and test a bit, right? So what we do is we typically receive like video materials on use cases or photo documentation, not just like a scene, rather the steps. We work with that in phase 1 then in our in-house development and on our own lab. We build out a physical twin in the lab, really trying to rebuild the scene, from the manufacturing floor or the warehouse in the lab. And then on top of that, obviously, you have also like the digital twin. We have a strategic partnership with NVIDIA, so we're using all the Isaac Sim Lab, Omniverse, all kind of tools there, and prepare that and have a check-in with the client before we then go into phase 2, which is the POC at the customer facility. Likely more a short-term POC where you come, deploy for a week or two, and then run multiple sessions to create excitement in the company, to educate a bit in the company, and obviously use also the chance to generate data, to do data collection there, because we heard multiple times that data on site is obviously the best one, and that's something we can definitely reconfirm with all the lights and the illumination, and suddenly boxes are worn out, and bearing rings or so, they're greasy or oily and so on. So that's definitely very, very helpful and needed so far. From there, we go in phase 3. It's a more long-term POC, couple of months here. If that is successful, then we enter the more interesting stages, which is then really an early deployment pilot. Because so far, the proof of concepts, they are more happening obviously in a low-risk environment like innovation centers or pre-manufacturing centers before then really going to the line. And you don't want to be the robot which then stops, for example, a production line or so, right? Hence, we are entering that after we learned more about the customer. And from there, we go into the commercial deployment. Yeah, what have we done so far? Here, a couple of highlights about our engagement so far. You see the pre-alpha engagements, as mentioned, pretty much from the beginning. We worked with clients. You see here a retail use case with a big, company from the UK, a retail company, grocery company. They are listed, Fortune 500. So we have done actually multiple things, like a robot goes through the aisle, picks a Coke bottle, chips back, and so on, and then brings it to a basket, and from there the online fulfillment happened. Next to that, there is more automotive use cases like box handling and ring picking. And then with the alpha platform, and that's an interesting one because the alpha is just like 5 weeks old, so you see more pilots and POCs already with the new robot who's only 5 weeks old than with the pre-alpha one. Here in that sphere, we have done the machine feeding, as mentioned. It was like a fender part the robot takes out of a shelf. And this is crucial because to put it into jigs, to put it into fixtures, you need millimeter accuracy, right? So this is really crucial there, and you would get challenged. And a couple of box handling with electronics tier 1 companies, but also like automotive companies. And that can be plastic or metal cases, on chutes, on conveyors. We really became experts in that. One partnership which really deserves being called out in this is the one we delivered with Schaeffler, a tier 1 automotive supplier, listed company, 120,000 employees around the world, around 100 factories. Everything started with a first POC. That was the ring picking one with the pre-alpha platform. I would say it was a good POC, but not particularly outstanding, not particularly fast, not particularly great, a couple of grasps in the air and so on. But it helped to excite and educate their management, and from there continue in the journey. And what I've personally seen there when we came back 3 months later with a better trained model, with teleoperated data from the customer facilities, with all the progress on the alpha hardware and so on, that was really mind-blowing because we came back, suddenly added like dual arm picking for the client. We had not those chunks, and trajectories. It was really smooth and much faster behavior of the robot, and also brought this whole partnership up to a completely new level, which is exciting, going into a next phase with a big company like that. So watch out for a few news over the next couple of weeks and not month. We are also super proud of our commercial success in general. The future demand we collected from our clients is just mind-blowing. That is across different industries. We're very respectful to NDA situations. Hence, you see more industries and what they are doing, but it goes across retail, manufacturing, warehouse, logistics. And those people, those folks, they went through the journey with us, built a trust, and from there, obviously, we're targeting the deployment, as mentioned before in our customer journey. We have delivered these kind of POCs to date. You can basically update them now in, I don't know, every week or every second week, because it really became like a machine where we're throwing out a lot of those pilots with the clients, which we set up, over the last 3-4 months. Yeah, how do we make money? We have 2 major revenue models. One is robot as a service, a subscription model. I think the industry is talking about, and our RaaS, as we call it, with Humanoid, contains 3 elements. One is obviously the whole infrastructure and the compute. As mentioned, we're working here with the latest NVIDIA chips, GPU, compute on that front. Obviously the robot as well, with all the software updates, hardware, etc. And then also teleoperation. With very interesting conversations with clients on that front. Some, think like step by step and have like a teleoperator on site overseeing the local robot fleet. But because I think in the session before the question came up about remote services, we have also a very progressive clients who are thinking about setting up a more central approach, overseeing then different factories with obviously the right latency and overseeing then in a similar time zone or wherever it's manageable, the fleet of robots. Then obviously CapEx as well. I think on the second part we're later introducing that because we have over the next 12, 18 months, still a couple of hardware optimizations we will see. We don't want to sell like a robot, which is then outdated maybe 2-3 months later. Hence, we go for the RaaS for the next 1-2 years, but then later on, we learn from clients that some of them also like to have those assets more on their balance sheet. Think about like depreciation and US GAAP, etc. Yeah, I hope I could give you a quick overview about the company where we stand, our focus on the industry, also our business and commercial strategy. Feel free to reach out. I hope it inspired. Let's have a couple of more conversations then offline. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.